to channel Bashar, channeling is done by the channel, not by us watching.
He's channeling aliens.
Darryl Anka.
He channels the aliens, an alien, I believe.
An alien. So this guy was talking, and he says fascinating stuff, even though the idea is ridiculous. Like the idea of him channeling this alien, just on paper, is ridiculous. I'm not saying it's not real. On paper, it's ridiculous. He was saying that not only is the universe new, but the universe is new all throughout the day, depending on the choices you make. You bend into parallel realities that are very different, and you leave behind all of the different variations of you that exist in all of the different variations of this reality.
Wow.
And that you are experiencing a very unique journey that's dependent upon your thoughts and ideas and actions. And every time you do it a certain way, you move in a certain direction.
That from moment to moment to moment to moment, you are constantly reinventing yourself, literally, physically, jumping from parallel reality to parallel reality to parallel reality that is representative of the vibration you happen to be at any given moment. And when I say creating, I mean that at every moment you make a change, you make a total change, a complete change in the entirety of your universal experience.
Dude, yeah, multiverse navigation via some kind of like
Yes.
will.
Which used to sound crazy. The idea of multiverse is so abstract until they started doing quantum computing, and the only way to explain the power of quantum computing is that it's somehow or another accessing an infinite number of these multiverses and instantaneously using them all to solve this equation in a preposterous amount of time. And if that's true, like if we all knew the multiverse was real and we knew that this man who talks like this, I am channeling, if that guy's accurate and what he's saying is right, and sometimes wacky people say true shit, if that guy's accurate and we can all come to an understanding that every little decision that you make, every way you think about things, every way you move through this life has this ultimate effect of transforming the very universe that you exist in.
Yeah.
And you can literally move to a higher plane.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it's true, but it seems to behave as if it's true.
That I don't think channeling is bullshit, dude.
I don't think it's bullshit either. I don't know what percentage of it is definitely bullshit, though. I don't think the idea of channeling is bullshit, but I think some channelers are bullshit, and that's the problem.
All right.
Is it?
Let's go back. I actually typed in Bashar and marijuana, so I think we have an additional theme to our show, honestly. So we're just going to go through the clips that other people have pulled together since we can listen to Bashar in the background. We will.
Is there a particular lifestyle path to realize my full soul potential?
I think we have already answered that to a great degree.
Yes, I'd like to get a little more specific on the particular challenge I'm having, and that sometimes I feel wonderful, organic, and mostly raw and vegan and meditating and not having any low vibration substances, and then times other times cannabis and alcohol and lower vibration foods, and I feel like
One moment.
Yes.
One moment.
Yes.
Cannabis is not a lower vibration food.
Obviously. It's like the best plant ever. The
Let's just take
best
a brief moment
plant
to explain
ever.
something about that idea before you continue.
Thank you.
Anything that grows from the earth in a natural way can be used as a teacher and a guide. The idea of cannabis has a specific frequency that is actually the frequency just below the template level reality, and thus then is actually representative of the frequency and the vibration that allows you to break physical reality open to the template level, or conversely, start to crystallize the more non-physical template level down into physical materiality. So it's that gateway that allows for the flexibility, the plasticity, the malleability of physical reality to help you redefine it, redesign it in a sense. However, the idea is also that when teachers, in that way, what they instill within you is a certain vibration, a certain frequency that we have just described. The point of utilizing those teachers is to utilize them simply to the point where you thus then are familiar enough with that frequency that you can generate it on your own without them. Do you understand? Because what they are teaching you is that you contain the frequency, you are a reflection of that frequency, and when you know that, you don't need, in a sense, the catalyst. You can simply generate that frequency anytime you wish without necessarily having to rely on the substance physically itself, and that's actually a higher form of that frequency, a higher form of that energy. Make sense?
Yes.
All right, now, back to what you were saying, we understand. If you really are choosing to do certain things out of what is actually your excitement, your highest excitement, instead of choosing to do certain things from your anxiety,
Yes.
that's what really, in a sense,
My phone's
makes
not
the
charged.
difference vibrationally, more than the substance itself. Because again, it's all about how you choose to do things, why you choose to do things, from what
Oh,
frequency
here.
you choose to do these
Come right
things,
back.
what kind of relationship you form with these ideas, more than the substance itself. Now, we understand that your society has imbued certain meaning to certain substances already, and that might be collectively true in general, although it can have exceptions, depending upon the individual relationship you may form with some of these ideas or substances or permission slips or reflections, because that's all it is. Nevertheless, it's up to you to have the discernment to know the difference between when you're truly choosing something from excitement or when you're choosing from anxiety and just calling it excitement because you're afraid to find out why you're anxious. Make sense? When you are actually choosing from anxiety and you are afraid to find out what the reason is, then you will gloss it over, you'll go into denial, and you will feel an emptiness because you are not investigating a part of yourself, you're not including a part of yourself holistically. And when you create that emptiness, you will do everything you can from the outer view to fill that hole. You understand?
Yes.
Or to dull your senses in order to not face the idea of that anxiety. And the reason that most of you do this is because of a particular belief that you have, many of you. And it is this. Many of you are afraid to investigate what those negative beliefs are based on, what that anxiety is coming from, because you have a belief that if you do, and you find out what it is actually based on, what that definition is, such as, let's say, lack of self-worth, lack of self-esteem, non-deservability, those ideas that many of you are fed as children on your planet, if you investigate them, you have a belief, you have a fear that if you find out that that's what the belief is, you have a fear that it might actually be true. I will guarantee you this. It is never true. Never true that you are unworthy. Never true that you are undeserving. Ever. Because if it were true that you were truly unworthy, if it was true that you were truly undeserving, you wouldn't exist because creation doesn't make mistakes. You understand? So the very fact that you exist is proof that you deserve to exist, because obviously all that is believes you must be necessary in order for it to be all that is, and that without you, all that is wouldn't be all that is. Thus, you are important to it, you are valuable to it, you are necessary to it, you are deserving of your existence, because you are a reflection that all that is can't get along without, or you wouldn't exist. There are no superfluous creations. So, if you are grounded in the understanding that your very existence is proof of your deservability, and you start to really know that to be true, then it doesn't matter what you discover as a belief in lack of deservability. You will know it's just a belief. It's just a definition. It will never be empirically, fundamentally true, because it can't be.
Okay. Ah! No songs. That's definitely not what we live stream with. All right, let's listen to this. There's a bunch of short clips we're going to listen to.
Hello, Bashar.
Good day.
My question is there a particular lifestyle path to realize my full soul potential?
I think we have already answered that to a great degree.
Yes, I'd like to get a little more specific about a particular challenge I'm having, and that sometimes I feel wonderful eating all organic and mostly raw and vegan and meditating and
Uh-oh, we didn't select it.
substances, and then
And
sometimes
other
I like
times?
cannabis and alcohol and lower vibration foods, and I feel like it
One
could
moment.
be...
One moment.
Yes.
One moment.
Yes.
Cannabis is not a lower vibration food. Don't misunderstand us.
Let's go back. That is a little bit of the one that we just listened to, actually. What's no. Bashar on addiction. That's not really what we were looking for. Let's see what this one says.
I don't know. Well, you are familiar with medical marijuana. I want to know, is it? I know it has healing properties, but I want to know because I'm for it, but I know it's a lot of people that says it's negative. What do you?
It depends on how it is used. The thing in and of itself is not negative. It is a natural extension of your world. It is for the purpose of allowing, as a permission slip, insight into different dimensional planes, different levels of thought, different perspectives. If it is used in a positive way, it will always have a positive result, but it can be used like anything in a negative way, thus resulting in a negative experience. The idea of the particular plant you are referring to as marijuana is actually the first step down translator or ambassador, if you will, from the plant kingdom below the template level reality, the blueprint level reality where you actually design your physical reality. Then stepping that down, you will find that marijuana is of the particular frequency that is the frequency that represents stepping the blueprint down into physical materialization. That's why when people on your planet use that particular substance, they are taken to a place where the reality starts to have a different perspective and starts to melt and flow in a different way. And the sensation of solidity is much weaker because you're seeing yourself, in a sense, in your consciousness, much closer to the template level reality, which is not exactly physical. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Does that help you?
Yes.
Remember that all these things are guides and teachers. And when used in a positive way, paradoxically, the idea is, if it is being used as a guide and a teacher, one of the things it teaches you is that once you have experienced that state of being, you're capable of simply replicating that state of energy anytime you wish without necessarily needing the physical substance from that point forward. So, the idea of using it and using it and using it and using it and using it as a crutch is a negative way to use it. The idea that you can't get there without it is a negative way of looking at it or defining it. The idea that it's teaching you how to learn to be in that state yourself without it is the point.
Okay.
And thus then, once you are allowing yourself to vibrate at that energy level on your own, you will actually find you're more capable of communing with that plant telepathically, and it can teach you much more than it can if you actually physically use the substance. Because now you have attained a different level, a more refined level of the vibration, and once you're in communion with the plant on that level, a whole new dimension and a whole new world opens up of information to you. That's why you instinctively say you get high. You actually need to raise your vibration to really get high without using the substance. Once you know what that feels like, once you know what the state of being is, all you have to do is remember any time that you felt that way and you are actually in that state at that moment. Go and talk to the plant and see what happens when you're in that state.
I feel high right now.
Adorable.
You're right. You're right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bashar. Appreciate it.
Okay, let's go back. I wonder if this is the same or
Are
different.
familiar with
Let's check.
medical marijuana? I
Yes.
want to know, is it
Is that the
I
one
know
we
it
just
has
listened to?
healing properties, but I want to know because I'm for it, but I know it's a lot of people that says it's negative. What do you
It
think?
depends on how it is used. The thing in and of itself is not negative. It is a natural extension of your world. It is for the purpose of allowing, as a permission slip, insight into different dimensional planes, different levels of thought, different perspectives. If it is used in a positive way, it will always have a positive result, but it can be used like anything in a negative way, thus resulting in a negative experience. The idea of the particular plant you are referring to as marijuana is actually the first step down translator or ambassador, if you will, from the plant kingdom below the template level reality, the blueprint level reality where you actually design your physical reality. Then stepping that down, you will find that marijuana is of the particular frequency that is the frequency that represents stepping the blueprint down into physical materialization. That's why when people on your planet use that particular substance, they are taken to a place where the reality starts to have a different perspective and starts to melt and flow in a different way. And the sensation of solidity is much weaker because you're
Weird.
seeing yourself, in a sense, in your consciousness, much closer to the template level reality, which is not exactly physical. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Does that help you?
Yes.
Remember that all these things are guides and teachers. And when used in a positive way, paradoxically, the idea is, if it is being used as a guide and a teacher, one of the things it teaches you is that once you have experienced that state of being, you're capable of simply replicating that state of energy anytime you wish without necessarily needing the physical substance from that point forward. So, the idea of using it and using it and using it and using it and using it as a crutch is a negative way to use it. The idea that you can't get there without it is a negative way of looking at it or defining it. The idea that it's teaching you how to learn to be in that state yourself without it is the point.
Okay.
And thus then, once you are allowing yourself to vibrate at that energy level on your own, you will actually find you're more capable of communing with that plant telepathically, and it can teach you much more than it can if you actually physically use the substance. Because now you have attained a different level, a more refined level of the vibration, and once you're in communion with the plant on that level, a whole new dimension and a whole new world opens up of information to you. That's why you instinctively say you get high. You actually need to raise your vibration to really get high without using the substance. Once you know what that feels like, once you know what the state of being is, all you have to do is remember any time that you felt that way and you are actually in that state at that moment. Go and talk to the plant and see what happens when you're in that state.
So
Yes?
I feel high right now. You're right.
All
You're right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bashar.
That was definitely repetitive. It's okay. It was good. I wanted to hear it again, actually, anyway. I honestly did. Uh-oh, there's music. Is there music the whole time? Or can we skip it? We skipped it.
All right, let's say good day to all of you this day of your time. Let us begin this transmission by reminding you that the title is Let's Get High. Now, this is meaning in the word high, capital H period, capital I period, capital G period, capital H period. And we would now like to explain what this is all about. In the changes that are now taking place in your society and around your world, and as we continue through the passageway that we have called the eye of the needle, where you are going to go through whatever process is necessary to divest yourself of the belief systems that no longer align with who you prefer to be, and let them go so that you can accelerate through this passageway toward the new beginning of the window of open contact in your year of 2023. We would like to share with you a state of being that is important for you to generate for yourselves as often as possible, every day, if possible, that will help you slip through this passage more easily and deal with whatever it is that comes up during this time.
Hello, Tadeo.
Nania.
I have some questions from our viewers.
All right.
Can you help us understand more clearly what is the difference between positive and negative beliefs?
Well, again, the basic definitions, mechanically speaking, is that positive energy integrates, builds, expands, supports toward the idea of unity, harmony, understanding, awareness. Negative energy is that which segregates, separates, compartmentalizes, disconnects, diminishes. Now again, these things can be used in a variety of ways, because positive beliefs can be used negatively, negative beliefs can be used positively, or shall we say more precisely, limitations placed upon the consciousness are placed there through a negative mechanism of focusing and lessening your awareness so that you're only focused on physical reality, for example, and not the rest of your being. But the idea is that's a positive use, because without that use of the negative energy, the negative mechanism to focus you in physical reality, you couldn't have a physical reality experience, because you would be caught up in the awareness of the rest of your being. Your focus would be too broad. So the idea, again, is we're talking about mechanical effects, in a sense, the use of energy, the use of vibrational patterns to achieve certain ends. But when you have the idea of negative energy, negative beliefs that are perpetuating themselves to the detriment of the individual, not to the individual's advantage, then you have a cycle of spiraling downward, self-reinforced experiences of negativity, of diminishment, of disconnection. And the positive reinforcing itself allows you to continue to expand, grow, let go of what doesn't work for you, replace it with something else. It gives you a choice. Whereas the idea of the negative energy doesn't so much allow you to be aware of choices you could be making. That would be the simplest definition, is it's all about the ability and the freedom to choose, as opposed to a lack of awareness of your ability to do that.
Oops. No music. I don't want shorts. Will this one work? Is this what we're looking for?
But seriously, as far as the frequency is concerned, and frequency has been something that I've been very interested in studying because of, you know, my studies
Let's see if
in
this
the
is
yogic
relevant.
philosophies and studying ascended masters and studying masters who've walked the earth. They, especially in the yogic philosophies and thought about raising that frequency to a point where you're able to connect with that information, which is what you're saying, essentially. And that's why these yogis who've been meditating for 30 years or 40 years, they're able to connect with information at a different level than we are. So my question to you is, how do we raise our frequency, our vibration?
Well, Bashar has a very specific way of telling us how to do that, and it all revolves around acting on our passion. Now, people, again, hear these phrases a lot, you know, act on your passion, act on your bliss, you know, live your dreams. But as far as I can tell, at least in the beginning, Bashar is one of the only sources that explains why that's important. And he explains it again, physically, mechanically. And his explanation is, you know, we have this physical mind, but We also have a non-physical higher mind. Most of our beingness is not physical. This is a small portion of who we are as greater beings. But the higher mind communicates to the physical mind, and it does so in terms of energies and frequencies. And the messages that it sends are translated through our physical mind into our physical bodies as the sensation we call passion, excitement, creativity, love, attraction. So when you understand that acting on your passion is actually a response to your higher mind saying, this is who you are, this is the next step on your path. Action is necessary because action is the language of physical reality, not words, not thoughts, actions, physical action. So when you act on your passion, you are responding to the higher mind. You're saying, I heard you, and I believe you, and I'm trusting your guidance. And so I will act on the thing you have sent me as an opportunity, synchronistically, that contains the most excitement at this moment, more than any other option, because your higher mind is telling you, here's the next step. So if you do that, then you're beginning this dialogue with the higher mind. You're creating a back and forth. If you don't act on your passion, your higher mind isn't going to send you any more opportunities to do so until you act on what it's already sent you, because that would simply make no sense. But if you keep doing that over and over and over again, the higher mind going, okay, you're receptive, you're following my guide, you're following my lead, and I will keep sending you more and more opportunities that contain excitement and passion for you to act on, because I see you're willing to do so. And then you're willing to accept the guidance that will lead you through life in a joyful way. So that's the mechanism behind it. Again, is resonance, it's frequency, it's energy communication. But we have to understand that the higher mind speaks in energy terms, but the physical mind has to speak in actions, because we're physical.
So, in other words, if we are going to, if we're talking about leaving our job, we can talk about it all what we want, but no other opportunities will present themselves until you physically quit your job and leave.
Or something will force you to get out.
Yes, I remember.
Yeah, and it is the action on your passion that raises your frequency, because you're being true to yourself. You're closer to your core frequency of who you really are. So acting on your passion in specific ways is what allows you to raise your vibration naturally.
You said something very interesting right there. Core vibration. What is that? Is that do we come in with a dial on the knob that is where we're supposed to resonate? So Jesus is here, Buddha's here, we're here, and then but that's the core?
Well, no, we all have the same core. We all have the same core. What gets in the way of that core are the filters we impose upon ourselves with our negative and fear-based belief systems. So it's about getting all that clutter out of the way so that the true vibration of our core essential being comes through unimpeded. We all have the same core.
So in other words, we all have the ability to get up to the higher levels. It's just the amount of crap that we've piled on ourselves that we have to kind of strip away.
Yeah, or the themes that we've chosen to explore that may be for the purpose of keeping us at a certain level, because that can actually serve a purpose for some spirits, some souls, to just experience. I'm just going to stay here. That's the lesson I'm learning, and that's what this life is all about. But essentially, yes, we all have the same potential, but it's colored by whatever it is we've decided we're going to experience as physical beings, adopting belief systems that then are in keeping with that theme of exploration. But most of us have the ability to sort of expand that to a great degree.
Full video, click on the link below, and don't forget to subscribe.
Hey, welcome to this deep dive YouTube masterclass. We're going to be talking about
Sean Cannell. That's a great channel here on YouTube. Think Media. Love him. He's my favorite Christian. I wish that women would be the leaders of men, and we could choose all our favorite leaders of men. Like, choose men to lead men, because men like to be led by men mostly. We need a matriarchy. In the meantime, we need men to lead men towards a matriarchy. So women should be choosing the manosphere leaders, not algorithms designing rage bait. You know? Let's see. DMT. The Secret of Plant Medicine. Ooh, I don't know which one to choose.
Hello, Bashar.
Let's listen to this one first.
Hello, Bashar.
Having a good day.
Pretty good. I have have a few questions. So, we need clarification on the colors of the directions of the landing pad. Which color goes with which direction?
Find what you call the American Indian medicine wheel and the colors they associate to the 4 directions, and that will be correct.
Okay. And then a question about plant medicines. What is a recipe we could use that is close to divinorum vibrationally using the ingredients on Earth?
Well, ayahuasca is close, as we said. It's not exact, but it's close.
Okay.
Because as long as it contains DMT, it will be very close, but it won't be exact because divinorum is specifically made for hybrid genetics of our kind. Nevertheless, ayahuasca that utilizes DMT will be close enough for the state that you're in at this point.
Okay, and then could you tell us the physics of Bufo alvarez, the 5-MeO DMT? How high in vibrational states does it take us when smoked?
Well, there are different stages, different specific strata or spectra that are at different frequencies that will allow you to connect to different things. It will only go so high because it's only relevant at a certain frequency, but the frequencies themselves are not what would make sense to you. The amount administered, the amount taken in those measurements is what would make some sense to you. Are you familiar with a book on your planet called DMT, the Spirit Molecule?
I've seen the documentary on Netflix.
All right, well, it does give you some indication of what the different amounts, the different doses are that will be representative of the different frequency spectra. So you can start there with your research.
Okay, and then we're planning on using ayahuasca and Bufo ceremony journeys to raise our vibration high enough to make face-to-face contact for the contact specialists on Earth. Will this work towards this goal or no?
You are mixing the ayahuasca with what?
Well, we're not mixing them together. The different plant medicine ceremonies, ayahuasca ceremonies, and then the Bufo ceremonies.
What are you defining as Bufo?
The 5-MeO DMT from the toad?
Not from the toad, no, do not do that. It will take you in a completely different place. That is not the correct mixture.
Okay. And then...
Base it on plants, not the animal.
Oh. Alright.
There will be a substitute
Androgyny?
for that. Do not use the animal secretion. It will take you in a very different place. I guarantee you don't want to go.
Okay.
Especially not if you're blending the vibration with the idea of also using the ayahuasca. Find another path that has to do with plants. Yes?
Okay.
All right.
And then you mentioned in an older transmission that you would be landing in Sedona. Are there other races such as the Yael to make first contact landing there?
Well, as we said, the Yael will be the first hybrid species to make contact openly with your world. We won't be the first in that way. The Yael will, and Sedona is definitely one of the places.
Okay, and then what is the vibration needed to be able to reach full telepathic communication?
It depends. But when telepathy is experienced in people who are bonded in that way and matching each other's frequencies, so they're having the same thoughts at the same time, usually the frequency is above 200,000 cycles per second.
Then can you tell me which vibration I am at now?
At this particular moment, about 113,000 cycles per second.
Then I have one more question. Do I have any hybrid children?
You do.
How many?
The idea of telling you how many has to do with how much of your genetic material might be in any of them, because it's spread wide and thin for most people who are part of the hybridization agenda. But for those children that have more than 15% of your material, you would say it's averaging about 15 to 17.
Okay, thank you, Bashar.
Thank you.
All right, let's go.
No.
Number 10.
What is this?
The cave at the edge of the...
I don't know what that is. Bashar, true story, the Garden of Eden, no. Quit smoking, no. Reincarnation in past lives, ayahuasca and psilocybin. Let's see what this is.
Okay, my second question has to do with ayahuasca and psilocybin mushrooms. I find myself benefiting a lot from them, and I respect your perspective, and I'm just curious what your perspective on those.
There are natural teachers that grow from the earth that are presented for the purpose of training you to get into different states. But the point is once you learn to get into those states, the point is learning to get into those states yourself without necessarily always needing the teacher. Otherwise, beyond a certain point, the teacher becomes a crutch.
I see. Is that realistically possible for a lot of us? I find that they take me personally to very expanded states of consciousness that I'm unable to get to normally now.
You mean that you believe you are unable to get to?
Yes, perhaps.
Therefore, you understand that you're still doing it. You're just using the teacher as a permission slip to circumvent your belief system that you can't do it on your own, but you're doing it on your own anyway.
I see.
You understand?
Yes, yes.
So when you finally realize that you are the permission slip, you will do it on your...
Okay, my second question has to do with ayahuasca and psilocybin mushrooms. I find myself benefiting a lot from them, and I respect your perspective, and I'm just curious what your perspective on those.
There are natural teachers that grow from the earth that are presented for the purpose of training you to get into different states. But the point is once you learn to get into those states, the point is learning to get into those states yourself without necessarily always needing the teacher. Otherwise, beyond a certain point, the teacher becomes a crutch.
I see. Is that realistically possible for a lot of us? I find that they take me personally to very expanded states of consciousness that I'm unable to get to normally now.
You mean that you believe you are unable to get to?
Yes, perhaps.
Therefore, you understand that you're still doing it. You're just using the teacher as a permission slip to circumvent your belief system that you can't do it on your own, but you're doing it on your own anyway.
I see.
You understand?
Yes, yes.
So when you finally realize that you are the permission slip, you will do it on your own.
Okay, my second question has to do with ayahuasca. And
Okay. The science of channeling Bashar. Let's hear this.
It's a vibrational resonance that is a particular frequency that I recognize as not my own, or at least a much bigger part of me. And I sort of liken it to the idea of two tuning forks. When you start one vibrating, if they're keyed to each other, then the other one starts vibrating in harmony. And as soon as they start matching frequency and vibrating together, that's kind of what it's like. So the channeling class, as I understood it, ultimately was training you to shift your brainwave frequency to a point where you go into a state called gamma, which is about 40 to 45 or 40 to 100 cycles per second, but I stay in the range of about 40 to 45 when I'm channeling. And then Bashar makes an adjustment in his brainwave frequency, and somewhere in the middle we lock. And as we vibrate together, what you get is a translation of his thoughts into the language that I'm programmed with. So the idea of channeling is not possession or anything like that. It is a synchronization of frequencies that allow you to have the same thoughts at the same time as whoever you are vibrating on the same wavelength with.
First and foremost, you are always manifesting something. If you were not, you wouldn't have an experiential physical reality, correct? Correct. So the idea is, you do not have to learn how to manifest. This is automatic.
It's Bashar's perspective that if we understand the nature of reality, the nature of existence, we'll understand our nature better, our relationship to existence, why we're here, why we experience reality the way we do. He is letting us know that there is a way to take all of the different things that people have been talking about on Earth for thousands of years that might be considered philosophies, or more recently, New Age concepts, and no pun intended, bring them down to earth. In the sense that we are often left with New Age concepts that sound wonderful, but what do they mean?
What you are simply learning is how to manifest more consciously, to be more aware of how you manifest so that you can manifest what you prefer, instead of manifesting your unconscious beliefs.
For example, one of the concepts you hear constantly in, New Age thought or whatever you want to call it, is follow your bliss, act on your passion, live your dreams. Now that is a wonderful sentiment, and it sounds great, but where's the practical side of understanding that concept? How do you do that? How do you go about really living your bliss and knowing that you'll be okay, knowing you'll be supported? He takes that concept, follow your passion, and he starts breaking it down. Well, what is that? What is that state of being? What is that feeling? You can think about things all day long. You can talk about them all day long. But if you're not willing to actually act on something that is supposed to be representative of who you are, what your truth really is, who the person is that you truly were created to be, if you don't act on that, you're not speaking the language of physical reality.
That's pretty awesome. Let me find something else again. Here we go. No, that's not Bashar. We listen to Bashar because it makes the sound for us, and I don't have to think of anything to say or make AI talk for us. Eventually, we'll find friends to live stream with.
Maybe. The minute you...
That sounds fascinating. Ooh, let's try to stay sort of on topic. This should be good. Uh-oh, music. Skip to music.
Andrew, good day.
I'm wondering what role the plant medicines like ayahuasca, magic mushrooms, iboga have in the evolution of human consciousness.
The idea is that they are teachers given to you by the earth to help you get familiar with the concept of being in altered states that allow you to see and experience more of your consciousness on higher dimensional levels. But the idea of the teachers is to give you a chance to practice what that state of being feels like, so that eventually you can create that state of being yourself without the teachers. And that plays a very important part in your evolution of, in a sense, upgrading your frequency.
Would you recommend ingesting some plant medicine?
I don't recommend anything. If it's your path and your true excitement, and it is a natural teacher of the earth, then by all means follow your path. But the idea, again, is to pay attention to the moment when the teacher is letting you know that you don't necessarily need the teacher anymore. Now, the idea of creating the state on your own, which you're doing in a sense anyway, is that if you go beyond that and believe that you still need the teacher, then the teacher has become a crutch. And then you start devolving instead of evolving. But the idea is that when you create the vibration yourself, it may not necessarily feel the same way that it did when you actually were utilizing the teacher itself, the plant medicine itself. But that doesn't matter, because you will be different, and therefore the state of being will feel different. And it will be for the purpose that you are applying it, so the situation will make a difference as well as to how you feel that vibration.
Get off that. What is that sound? That's weird. Bashar deciphers the symptoms of. I hear someone's ahead.
And now, very specific altered state that.
What is
very
this?
Specific altered state that in and of itself is a very particular kind of dream. Therefore, no other dreams can enter.
Ah, I see. Okay.
You
Very
like my
interesting.
hair?
So,
Thank
when
you.
you
I love when people love
you're
my
in the
hair.
template level reality. And
Well,
that's a gateway to the
it touches into
template
it, but it's not purely the template level reality, no.
Okay. So in a way, the substance marijuana be used to help the cultivation of the dream realm? In that
To some degree, in specific ways, but it's not exactly designed to do that.
Okay.
That's more of an ayahuasca experience.
Gotcha. Because people will start going on the path of development and doing the internal work, I see people like in the meditation practice energetic arts, and then they smoke weed, and I can like see it kind of like will halt processes or revert processes.
It can, because again, remember, there are different things that happen with the different teachers. They're designed to do things in a different way. The idea of the teacher that you're referring to as marijuana is more of the idea of a lubrication effect to sort of get you ready for something else. It doesn't necessarily go that far unto itself. It is more of a preparatory vibrational energy for something else, for other teachers. But again, remember, as always, it's to get you to understand how to create that state for yourself so that you're not constantly relying on the teacher, which if you continue to do past the point where you can create the state yourself, you're then using the teacher as a crutch, and it can become an addiction, whether physical or psychological or emotional.
Yes.
So the idea is to learn the lessons, understand the state, and then advance and graduate from that state.
Yes.
I need to work on my website. I need to find a good excuse to figure out how to find people in my life who know how to work on websites.
Questions?
What is that? No. Do we already listen to that one?
I don't know. Well, you are familiar with medical marijuana. I want to know, is it? I know it has healing properties, but I want to know because I'm for it, but it's.
We already saw that one a bunch of times. Do 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 do. I hear music. We're not supposed to have that on. Plant-based ETs. What in the world?
Hey, Bashar.
We were talking about plants.
How are we?
It's an awkward transition.
Perfect. Thank you for asking. Okay, so I kind of want to talk about downloads.
Downloads.
Yes.
Right.
Last night.
Yes.
As the channel session was going on, the lights kept flickering, and I felt like a string being pulled from my third eye.
Yes.
Can you tell me what was going on there?
The idea, again, is that we were talking about the pineal gland, which you euphemistically refer to as the third eye. Thus, the idea is that there was more activation of that particular energy center of the body, and when that energy center of the body is more highly activated, it expands one's ability to perceive into other dimensions. But doing so actually also expands the electromagnetic field around the body. It can, for a while until stabilized, be a little bit erratic. And when interacting with other electromagnetic fields, of which there are a plethora on your planet, it may cause contrary waves that will cause feedback loops in some of the existing electromagnetic systems that are in your immediate proximity, so as to cause fluctuations in their fields.
Would like a cell phone be interrupting that then, for example?
It can.
Okay.
Or it can be interrupted by the expanding field from your body.
Okay.
Or even activated.
Was that why the lights were flickering then?
In some sense, yeah.
Okay. And then later on that night, around a little after 3 a.m., my pineal gland was activated.
Nice.
And I was listening to a new ITOM lab track that was still in creation. And basically I had some incarnational experiences, and I felt all of my chakras basically align and vibrate.
All right.
And I felt like, my whole body basically kind of leave itself. But
Your body left itself?
Well, I left my body.
Well, in a sense, you expanded beyond the parameters of your physical form.
Yes. So, with all that being said, I've actually, with the incarnation thing, I've come to find on my own one of the incarnations called Ion. And I was just hoping you could maybe expand on maybe what had happened last night, what I should be picking up on.
The idea is that it was a template of a future, what you call a future incarnation. The template being shown to you, given to you the frequencies thereof to match in order to move forward and toward that vibration.
Okay, and how can I, from what had happened, put that into action? Spend more time in the non-physical planes, or meditate on that
How
more?
does your imagination wish to put it into action?
Through creativity.
Well, then do so.
Okay. Could you tell me a little bit more about Ion?
It is a being of spontaneity, of spontaneous creation, that is highly technological in the sense that it is strongly connected to electromagnetic fields and their instantaneous manipulation.
Cool.
There's that temperature again.
Yes. Okay, so what about with Tiave? Ion and Tiave have a relationship. Can you tell me about that?
Not at this time.
Okay.
Except to say this. One pulls you to the future and one grounds you to the earth.
Interesting.
So that you have a complete circuit and won't short yourself.
Okay, one last question. It's involving synchronicity.
Yes.
My buddy Tom, I haven't seen him for like a month or two, and when I saw him yesterday,
yes,
we have the same bracelet.
Yes.
We have the same pair of shoes.
Yes.
And we both have crystal necklaces. He's got moldavite, and I've got a quartz.
Yes.
What's going on there?
Synchronicity. Synchronicity being that you are operating on similar wavelengths and therefore will reflect that through similar expressions.
Okay, so basically like the whole, if you drop a glass theory and, you know, all the different particles are all a part of the one, we're basically kind of two shards that were closer together that kind of broke apart in that sense?
No. The idea being, of course, that on a certain level everything is one. And all of
You don't like bubbly blondes?
Yes. But
I'm a bubbly blonde.
Synchronistically, the idea is that if you are vibrating on a similar wavelength, then you will experience similar things simultaneously.
Oh, all right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
I have a question about how to take action more effectively in my field of work.
Which is?
I'm a writer.
All right, and this is your passion, yes?
And a film producer, yes.
Yes, all right.
And
taking action more effectively.
Well, specifically in reference to one element of this business.
Yes.
I feel very confident and have been successful as a writer for many, many years.
All right.
And as a producer too, I feel that I'm doing well in the all the creative
all right
areas of that.
And what area are you seeking to enhance?
What I'm seeking to enhance is my comfort level with raising money. I'm involved right now in organizing a really fabulous documentary project. And
why are you uncomfortable in raising money?
Well, it's I've never been required to do this by myself before, for one thing, and also
So you do not believe you necessarily possess the skills to do so?
That's part of it.
All right.
And also I don't I don't have any particular in-depth training as far as finances are concerned. I feel very comfortable in the creative end with everything and the people.
Why
and
is
all
this
that.
not a creative aspect? Maybe you are simply defining it in a way that doesn't serve you. It is a creative aspect of the project as well, to raise the money, is it not?
Certainly.
Well, then why not go about it more creatively?
When you ask me that question, I feel like I just walked into a brick wall. I don't know.
All right, well, at least walk into the brick wall creatively. The idea being is that your definitions are getting the better of you here. You need to redefine the whole concept of your relationship to money, raising it, your ability to do so, and see it as something that is actually part and parcel of the creativity of making the film. It is not a separate issue. The verve and creativity and imagination and inspiration that you use to apply to the writing and the filmmaking and all the other aspects must also be applied to this in the same way. They cannot be seen as any different. Go forward in the idea of raising money with joy. Oh boy, I get to raise money for this now. I get to attract it synchronistically, effortlessly, joyfully, just like every other aspect of this idea. You must allow yourself to not make this a separate issue by redefining it in a more holistic way. And then get on about the business of doing that in a more creative way according to your inspiration and imagination. But you will not see ways of doing it creatively until you are on the wavelength itself that allows you to know that that's possible for you. It doesn't necessarily mean that you require great skill at doing it. We understand that there may be people on your planet that use certain skills to do this, but there are also people that have raised substantial sums of money on your planet for their projects without having an idea about how to go about it. They just start talking. They just start doing it. They just get an inspiration and they say, well, that's just, here's the movie cliche, that's just crazy enough that it might work. And being willing to take action on it, even if it seems a little crazy. That's bringing the same degree of creativity to that aspect of making the film as any other aspect, because it is an aspect of making the film. And there is no reason to be unexcited about that, except as the definitions you have been taught make it seem to be. Is this making some sense?
Oh, absolutely. That's very helpful.
Now, in your imagination, can you right now imagine one unusual way in which you might go about attracting this money? What springs to mind when you allow your imagination to simply run free with it? No matter how crazy it looks, say it, even if it doesn't seem practical. Let it come.
Well, the first thing that occurred to me is to approach someone in a group I know that has hundreds of members who are very interested in this kind of thing.
All right. And then through your passion about the project, perhaps inspire them to join with you in helping co-create it, yes?
Right.
So, will you take action on that?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, I will.
Thank you. That's really all it takes. Don't bring expectation into it. Just allow it to be what it is and act on the next most exciting thing that crops up after that. But if that's what popped into your imagination, then you are allowing your imagination to be the conduit that allows higher mind to communicate those ideas that, if you take action on, will get you where you're going. Whether that is the immediate manifestational form or not, doesn't matter. It will move you in the correct direction and put you in the proper state of being to attract what you need. And the more passionate you are about it for its own sake, rather than being excited about it because you need something from someone, the more
I'm genuinely just chatty sometimes, especially in live stream chats.
You will make it seem to others who also want to play. You see?
Yeah.
Does that help?
Yeah, it does. I think it also, what you're saying too, is to just let go of the tension around it.
Yes, because that's only created by definitions you have of that don't serve you and have nothing to do with the idea of your passion. That's why it feels awkward. The awkwardness is telling you that the way you're approaching that aspect of the deal is not representative of your passion. Therefore, find a way that is. Invent a way that is. Yes?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I have another question now, too, about what you just began to speak about a moment ago.
Yes.
In fact, a couple of them. I am still having trouble trying to figure out how to understand the idea of history in chronological time.
Yes.
And everything occurring simultaneously. For example,
yes.
the one image that keeps coming to mind is, you know, in 16th century England or
yes.
London,
yes.
the costumes looked a particular way.
Yes.
And
they still do in that reality.
But we have the same city in
No,
this
you
year.
don't. No, you don't. That's where you're getting confused. It's not the same city.
Why are you so sad?
It's not the same reality.
Oh my lord.
It's just a different version.
You have to fake it like you're not sad.
And what is memory? For those of us, if we
good question.
If we have memory of what we think of as
memory
past lives,
is
what's
created in the present. Memory does not come from the past. It's created in the present. Memory is simply a cross-linking, a cross-connecting to another reality that you then put into a linear space-time framework for your convenience of continuity.
This is my CBD. You keep complaining about me laughing. You don't even know what CBD is?
Film business, so look at the analogy we have often used of the film.
It's like marijuana. We were talking about marijuana earlier in the live stream.
The strip of film.
Well, Bashar was.
One frame at a time, one.
I was just sitting here chilling.
It's going to appear to be
laughing on occasion.
Motion from beginning to end. But if you're the projectionist, you know that you can simply hold the film strip out between your hands and see all the frames at the same time. Just because you might experience the beginning through the projector and the ending through the projector and all the things in sequence when it runs through the projector, when you don't run it through the projector but just hold it in your hands, you can see all the frames at the same time and can look at them in any order you want. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So, reality is actually like that. What you call 16th century London is a frame on a piece of film. What you call 21st century London is a frame somewhere on that film strip. They both exist at the same time. If you look at them through the projector, you will see a historical continuity and a progression. If you just look at them simultaneously, you'll see both of the frames on the strip at the same time. Does that help?
So, in other words, perhaps if you're working from a historical point of view, if you're, say, doing a historical book or film,
then it serves you to look at it as the projector looks at it.
Okay, so it's really a choice of how you choose to look at it.
Yes. It's holographic. Depending upon your point of view will determine exactly how you see it. But all of them are correct. All the points of view are correct. It's just what serves you at any given moment for what you are doing. That's all. Does that make more sense?
Yeah.
Does that help?
Yes, yes it does.
It's dead.
And then, lastly, regarding something you said a few minutes ago about, you know, choosing to exist in the reality that you prefer and that you really, you can't change the world. You can only change yourself.
Yes.
Well, then why bother? If I prefer to live in a world where there's no torture, where there's no
Remember what we said about
famine.
the idea of process? And the idea of experiencing creation in action and what you learn from that? That's valuable. That's why bother. Because that is its own experience. Because it's not about changing someone else. It's about what you learn in your experience of being an aspect of creation. And then, in a sense, adding that perspective to creation. To give
and the part I was trying to break off.
To another point of view in creation. That's why bother. Do you understand that? The value is in the experience.
I found more
So
oil.
in a sense, the experience adds
It's like a
value
sheet.
to oneself and to the whole of creation. Is that what you're saying?
Can you see that?
Validates all that is.
It's all the oil hiding in the
Because it is
top
a
of it.
real, valid
That's why I saved the
experience
old pens.
of all that is. And to experience it in that
It's
sense
very sticky.
validates all that is and the aspect of it experiencing it. And that is an experience of value and appreciation. Does that make more sense?
Yes, but what is then the difference between, say,
Sorry.
where
People have a hard time
I
understanding me.
am, and a bodhisattva? Then
what is the difference?
Where is the difference in process? What happens in?
It's a difference in the level of frequency represented by the degree of appreciation.
CBD. I don't even know what that stands for. It's the tiny bit of THC that's in cannabis.
The less need there is for the process or the experience.
North Carolina right now.
To all that is.
Keeping it legal in North Carolina with CBD right now.
Simply adds it by being appreciation. Most of you are still going through the process of experiencing the process that eventually creates the appreciation. That's it.
So is appreciation in this sense the equivalent of unconditional compassion?
Yes. Vibrationally speaking. Does that help?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Where does it sit down? Oh. There. Okay. So can I take this off and put more oil in? Or is it not going to work?
Good day.
Because I broke it. No, it does still work.
Questions.
Going back down.
If I'm passionate about someone's life, can I change?
Oh, you're from Ireland.
Life?
No.
Okay.
You can, however,
Yeah.
offer them an opportunity to choose.
I just
to
don't have
change their
friends.
life. That's all you can do.
I don't have friends that get me
So
stuff.
if you are in that sense passionate about them and loving, you can allow them to experience that there is an opportunity, a choice that they can make. But if you're loving, you have to allow them to make whatever choice they choose to make.
Yes, that's true.
Okay.
Yes, I know.
Okay, then.
Does that help?
Was
Yes,
this pour?
it's very helpful. I'll be, I'll be loving. Yes.
Thank you. Well, your choice.
Maybe.
You
Yes.
don't have to be.
I choose.
Maybe I just
to.
have to leave it like that for it to drain.
Are there tones, pineal tones, that help with balancing our mind and also could have
Okay. That looks like it's going to stay there, actually.
Yes, and we will discuss this concept at another time as well, but the short answer is yes.
Okay, so on to some
That's silly.
type questions that we have.
I love Ireland.
If someone passes
I'm mostly German, also Irish, some other stuff a little bit. Mostly German and Irish, but I'm also Cherokee and mixed, which I'm pretty freaking proud of. But mostly white, obviously.
Other realities, other universes altogether. It depends on the type of black hole.
So these sounds, I think they just recently came up with a recording of the sound of a black hole. Is that accurate?
Sound, in a sense, is a reconstruction of the idea of the perturbations that exist within the space-time field as you recognize it in your terms. So it's the fluctuations in the space-time field, the gravitational fields, the fields of consciousness that are being interpreted in your terms to create a sound as you understand sound. What you're basically hearing is a representation of fluctuations in space-time.
And what would happen if a person went to the end of the universe and
It should be on if you're going to try to take you.
I know it's going to be very, but...
Again, you're assuming, first of all, there is an end.
Right.
In the sense to the universe. But we understand the context of the question. It depends, again, you might see another universe. You might not even know you've crossed from one to another. The end may be apparent and it may not be. It just depends. Again, this requires a deeper conversation, but the general answer is, it depends.
Okay. And are there any spacefaring ETs who are basically life-size animated plants?
In a sense, yes. You would perceive them in that way. You would perceive them to be plant-like, although they would be a little bit different than what you perceive on Earth as plant-like. But yes, there are those extraterrestrial beings that do appear to possess more qualities you would attribute to the concept of plants.
What about situations where someone has taken something that elevates their frequency, some sort of hallucinogenic or plant-based idea, and they experience things like communication with DNA and things like that? Is that basically
Yeah, I was camping one time and it was like really, really like it was I think it was Cherokee territory, honestly. All of North Carolina is Cherokee territory and I'm in like the right state, like the tribe that I'm from in North Carolina. And I live in North Carolina. Um but yeah, some dude tried to tell me. I told him, he said, "Well, I'm Native American too." And I was like, "You don't look Native American." He's like, "You don't look Native American." I was like, "How would you know? How can you tell? Like, you're ridiculous." And it was very clear that one of us was Native American and one of it was faking it. Because, like, Native American people, like, if we're mostly white, which there's more most, I think. I mean, I don't even know. There probably are more mostly white African or mixed with Native American heritage people than there are like what we call pure Native American people. But it's just weird how like white people doubt you and they question you and they're really upset that you're proud of your Native American heritage entirely too often. But like the pride that you have to be mixed, like if you're mixed with Native American, if you're mixed with African American, like it's normal and healthy and good for you to feel pride in that DNA as well. Like, if you're pure or whatever that variation is, it's not really a valid concept, honestly. But, like, if you're purely Irish, like, I think that's ultra cool. Like, my dad is too. Like, I know a lot of all Irish people for the average person, but, like, I don't know. Like, I love Irish people. I love red hair. It took me a really long time to figure out that I actually do love red hair because like orange hair is not that appealing. But like some people have like auburn hair or like strawberry blonde hair. Like there's so many variations of red hair that are gorgeous. So, anyway. I don't know why did we start rambling about that? Oh, cuz the it was a ranger. It was like a forest ranger and he was doubting my heritage. It's like so typical for white people. It's so annoying. Or like white American people.
similar to the idea of interacting with a plant type consciousness that is an extraterrestrial?
Well, yes, because it can be a reflection of dealing with the consciousness of a plant that is terrestrial and therefore may cross into the idea of communication with an extraterrestrial type plant as well.
So they can deliver information from that microscopic level in a sense also.
Possibly.
Okay, and why do extraterrestrial crafts have light? Lights on them. Are they a device for attracting our attention and raising our awareness, or do they serve a purpose?
Well, there are many levels to that. Many craft have lights in the same way that your cars have lights. Remember, it's dark out in space. Therefore, the lights help to identify what's there. But a lot of the so-called lights are not lights as you understand them. They're expressions of energy. So they can be representative of many different things that are not necessarily physical lights in the way you understand the technology. It may be the manipulation of energy that has a light as a side effect.
Okay, and will there be people who immigrate to Essassani, and how would that work in the Interstellar Alliance?
Eventually, there may be those that will come to live on different planets relatively permanently, yes. In the future, when you are a full-fledged member of the Interstellar Alliance,
That is a common thing for individuals to do, as long as the planet can support their form of life. Just like you would go to live in another country. There's nothing mysterious about this.
At the present time, though, individuals who are experiencing Essassani would basically be doing it in dream time in that form.
In their astral form, yes. Eventually it can be physical. There are humans who have been taken to other planets physically. We're not going to go into detail about a lot of that right now. But there are humans who do reside on other planets. It's rare, but it has happened.
And are there subterranean intelligences living alongside humans on this planet?
Can you hear that?
There are some. That doesn't mean there's a Hall of Earth in your dimension. But there are some subterranean beings that do exist on your planet simultaneously with you. There are not many. Mostly those that you would consider to be other civilizations, subterranean, or in other dimensions that just appear to be inside your planet. But there are a few physical beings that do live in subterranean enclaves on your planet that you are not necessarily aware of.
How prevalent is it that there are ships in the oceans?
You mean extraterrestrial craft?
Yes. Oh, sorry, yes.
It's relatively common because there are bases under the ocean floors, and are visited quite often by various extraterrestrial craft, just as there are bases that are also underground on land and bases on your moon and Mars.
Are there a number of bases within the Hawaiian Islands?
There are a couple. All right, up here.
Can I ask about a specific location?
If you wish. Doesn't mean I'll answer you.
Okay. Kealakekua Bay?
Nearby.
There have been sightings there.
Nearby.
Nearby.
Nearby. Not in it, but nearby.
Okay. Are the beings responsible for creating our species and our scientific level of intelligence also responsible for the nuclear weapons that this intelligence has produced?
If you're referring to the idea of the Anunnaki, they did have a science that was understood by some that did allow for the development of nuclear devices. They didn't provide them, though, if that's what you're asking.
Okay. And did the Sasquatch interact heavily with the Conestoga people, who are also known as the Susquehannock, found on the Susquehannock River? And if so, modern people believe this culture is extinct because of conflict in the 1700s. Did some of them travel with Sasquatch to other dimensions?
Yes. And that's all we will say about that.
Okay. And are ancient Egypt giants Anunnaki?
Some of them certainly have a lot of Anunnaki blood. They are mostly ancient Atlanteans that have a lot of Anunnaki blood, many of which still existed on Earth in the late periods after the destruction, the third phase of destruction of Atlantis, and became known as the Anunnage. You can look them up. Anunnage, A-N-A-N-N-A-G-E, Anunnage, which is a corruption of Anunnaki. But many of these are ancient Atlanteans who survived and went to different areas on your planet that had a lot of Anunnaki blood.
Okay.
I need a new
question
pen.
about the U.S. congressional hearings on the UFOs.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, does that foreshadow a change in the collective energy leading to the beginning of the open window of contact?
It does, of course, even though not much information actually was offered in that meeting. The fact that it is recognized as a public meeting that professes to take the subject seriously is a step forward in the evolution of contact. Yes, of course.
And this person is saying, I read that the U.S. government or military doesn't want to admit UFOs are from outer space and friendly because then there would be no need to have huge budgets to protect ourselves against them. Is that accurate or?
Yes. In general, yes. There are exceptions, but yes.
Funny.
And in the news this week, there was also a picture of a doorway on planet Mars. And is that picture true?
No comment.
Okay. And there'll be a device in the future that will help access the unconscious mind and discover our negative beliefs. Can you tell us what kind of a device that would be?
It will be an AI device.
And is it connected with the internet? Because you've talked about how we would be able to talk with our higher minds through the internet. I guess it's sort of a representation of that idea.
It's not the internet as you know it, but it will be something similar.
Okay, and can you tell us something about advances in health and medicine, what they might look like that would help us continue to evolve and move towards greater and greater open contact?
Eventually, it will all be based on the understanding of resonance and frequency of energy.
So eventually, will we be able to like regrow limbs or restore senses?
Yes.
All of those things.
Yes.
And will it be through the use of AI? Because right now we already see that happening where
partly, yes. It can be aided by AI, yes. But it has to do with frequency and resonance.
Okay. And lastly, this one says the cultural belief that change is created through rage, rejection, and punishment seems to be gaining momentum, at least in our society and maybe even worldwide. And can you help us understand what an individual can do to shift that so that we have a more smooth progression to our evolved future? Or is this whole period of quote-unquote negativity that the world seems to be going through, it's part of our growth process to get us to that?
On how you use it. As we have said, you're getting everything up.
This is very touchy for the Brits, you know. I don't even get it. Like, I know people shouldn't have been dying. Like, I remember the 80s, the 90s, whatever. Northern Ireland is Irish, and Northern Ireland is not English, so Northern Ireland is Ireland. There you have it.
The table because it's the end of
It's a
the
little
cycle.
game between me and my tribe.
You have to be able to see every possible choice and every possible opportunity to be a living example of better choices, of more positive choices, without necessarily needing anyone to choose them. But the idea is to be a living example.
Now you're laughing.
That's how you can help. But remember, again, you're never going to change the planet you're on. You're going to shift to another version of Earth that will be more and more reflective of the changes you make within yourself. But being a living example through the actions that you take that are more representative of a positive reality will allow those who are inclined to do so to also choose and match those frequencies in a more positive way. But again, the idea is, unless you see all of the negativity, you won't know what choices necessarily there are to make or not make. So you're getting it all out on the table, so you give yourself the freedom to choose what you truly prefer and leave behind what you truly do not.
That's okay. I'm going to too soon.
That are concerned about nuclear in the current situations that are happening. You've mentioned that full-out nuclear war would not be allowed to happen on this planet because of the effect that it would have in other dimensions, etc.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes, but limited nuclear strikes we cannot necessarily prevent.
So if there's a limited nuclear strike that then turns into a full-out exchange, is that would, like, if there was a limited nuclear strike and then someone retaliated in a limited way, would that qualify as being allowed to happen, or would it only be that it would be stopped at that point?
We would gauge the ultimate effect of any reaction and determine whether or not it would reach the level where it would interfere with other dimensions. It will be allowed as long as it does not cross over into other realities that are not yours. As soon as it reaches the level where it would do so, it would be stopped.
Okay. And just in keeping with the idea that there are things happening on our planet that are very challenging for a lot of us.
Yes.
In
Who,
terms
me?
of a positive way to
I'm just pretending to be Marilyn Monroe, like eye contact with the camera, because you guys love it so much.
Do not instruct you in that. You have made this too political, and we are not allowed into your politics that deeply. We would simply say, once again, look for those who exhibit the idea of courage, of strength, of positivity, of doing things in a way that can mitigate things without the idea of violence and force, but who also are willing to defend themselves. Allow yourself simply again to continue to be living examples and take the actions necessary to demonstrate to others that they do not have to operate out of fear, that they do not have to operate out of control and lack. It's up to you. It's your planet. We can only go so far in aiding and assisting you. You have to make the decisions that work for everyone in the most harmonious way and help those who live in fear to understand there is another way. We have to leave most of that up to you to use the tools we have shared with you in ways that can be of assistance and service to all. It's your planet.
Thank you, Bashar. We really appreciate your perspective and all that you share with us.
It is always our passion and our pleasure and our gratitude and appreciation for allowing these exchanges to occur. Depending upon what you do with this information will make all the difference in all the different versions of Earth that you choose to experience as you move forward on your evolutionary path. And in that light, we now invite you to participate.
Have a wonderful, wonderful week next week. And before that, have a wonderful weekend. I'll see you later. Maybe tonight. All right, bye.